I heard Shinji's coquettish laughter. Who likes Ji Sai? I just want to see the cold and aloof academic god fall into the mud, becoming a love-struck fool. I told these words to my childhood friend Ji Sai. Shinji's confession failed. That night, news came that Shinji had jumped from the teaching building and died. Ji Sai seemed unaffected and continued with his studies and life. After achieving fame and success, he even married me. Little did I know, this would be the beginning of my nightmare. Finally, he tied me to the bed and burned me alive. Just before the flames were about to consume me, he said with eyes full of hatred, "It's all your fault." That day, I was about to accept Gigi's confession. Given another chance, I stopped caring about Ji Sai, watching coldly as he played the lapdog for the young mistress. Ji Sai, have you lost your mind? You've kept me trapped here for 3 days. Isn't that enough? Shinji's death back then wasn't my fault. Even the police confirmed it. The school railing was loose, her death was accidental, tied to the bed by Ji Sai. I struggled desperately, screaming myself hoarse with tears streaming down my face. Ji Sai, I didn't lie to you. Shinji's best friend also said that Shinji was originally acting that day. She pretended to jump off the building to lure you there. Who knew she would actually fall? It was all an accident. But Ji Sai remained unmoved, gently stroking my head as he said, "Lin Xiaxia, everything you've said is just your one-sided account. You liked me, didn't you? That year, you were afraid I'd accept Gigi's confession, so you lied to me, saying she was playing me, causing all of this. It's you who killed her." His movements were gentle, but his tone was icy, sending chills down the spine. Tears streaming down my face, I shook my head desperately. I genuinely heard Shinji telling her best friend that she doesn't like Ji Sai, and that pursuing him was just to bring him down from his pedestal. I admit I did have feelings for him once. Ji Sai is exceptionally handsome, and since we grew up together as childhood friends, he treated me differently from others. It was hard not to develop feelings. But I wouldn't casually frame someone. I think Ji Sai understands me, so, clinging to that faint hope in my heart, I earnestly said, "Ji Sai, don't you know me? I wouldn't slander Shinji just for you, believe me. I beg you to believe me, let me go, and I'll pretend nothing ever happened." Ji Sai didn't speak and remained silent for a long time. After a long while, he lit a cigarette and looked at me coldly, his eyes filled with mockery. "Lin Xiaxia, I've known for a long time that you liked me for many years. But to be honest, apart from your academic performance, your family background and looks are nowhere near Shinji's. I used to trust you completely. But now I deeply regret ever believing your words so easily. Xia, since you've done wrong, you must pay the price." Something within my heart slowly sank and shattered. I thought after all these years as childhood friends, he would understand me. But apparently not. Who would have thought? Not only did he not believe me, but he also hated me. He hates me to the bone. Marrying me was all to take revenge on me. Turns out, that aloof and unattainable demeanor he had back then, coldly rejecting Shinji, was all a facade. He actually liked Shinji all along. I wanted to curse him for being insane, to say if he liked Shinji he should have spoken up earlier. It's not like I couldn't live without him. I didn't dare provoke him further, afraid he'd spiral deeper into madness. He exhaled a smoke ring, his tone detached. "Did you know, Gigi left me a love letter, filled with affection for me. How could she not love me? How could she possibly be playing me? Gigi is dead. She proved her love for me through death." His expression was calm, his eyes emitting a gentle light, as if looking through me to gaze upon those youthful days that could never return. He pressed the unextinguished cigarette butt against my body. The cigarette butt made a faint sizzling sound on my skin, and I could still seem to catch a whiff of burning. The pain made my body tremble. Ji Sai's face grew increasingly tender and affectionate, the flame from his lighter illuminating his sharp, handsome jawline. Finally, he made the decisive call. "It's all because of you that Shinji died. Lin Xiaxia, go keep her company." I understood the resolve in his expression. I knew he wouldn't let me go. I screamed hysterically, "Ji Sai, you're insane. Shinji's death really has nothing to do with me. Let me go. This is illegal." I struggled desperately, my wrists turning red with rope burns, but couldn't break free. The surrounding air grew scorching hot as flames shot skyward. In the final moment before the inferno consumed me, I heard him say, "It's all your fault." That day, I was about to accept Gigi's confession, amidst the searing pain of burning flames, I finally understood. He had never stopped thinking about Shinji. When I opened my eyes again, all I felt was a sharp pain in my lower abdomen and sore, weak legs. I almost lost my balance and fell into the pit. I steadied myself against the door panel and took a closer look. Turns out I was squatting in a school restroom stall, letting it all out. Still somewhat dazed, I suddenly heard a familiar voice coming from the next stall. Shinji's best friend teased, "Missy, do you really like Jiyu Sai?" Shinji pouted, "How could that be? I just wanted to see the cold and aloof academic god fall from his pedestal, reduced to acting like a lovesick fool. It's just a game to mess with him." After a while, Shinji lowered her voice and whispered to her best friend, "Oh, actually, I made a bet with Han Xian. Don't tell anyone, okay? We're betting on whether I can make Jiyu Sai obsessed with me, enough to make him choose a vocational college over university for his college entrance exam application. He spent all his 3 months' allowance to buy me a bag, so that's how it is." Turns out, Jiyu Sai's future, my childhood friend, was nothing more than a trivial bet to those rich kids. Who would have thought that my death in my past life stemmed from such a petty joke? Leaning against the wall, I tried to calm myself, barely daring to breathe. It dawned on me that I had been reborn. Reborn on the very day I overheard Shinji's conversation with her best friend. What had I done in my previous life? Upon hearing Shinji say, "Just playing with him," I immediately rushed out and interrupted their talk. I told my childhood sweetheart Jiyu Sai about this matter. I had no idea there was more to it. Shinji's intentions turned out to be so malicious. Not only did she want to toy with Jiyu Sai's feelings, but she also wanted him to apply for a vocational college for her sake. Keep in mind that Jiyu Sai was top-tier university material, 985 caliber. Choosing a vocational college would have ruined his future prospects. In my past life, I saved Jiyu Sai's future. Little did I know, I had rescued an ungrateful wolf. This lifetime, I'm eager to see what expression the academic prodigy Jiyu Sai will wear after falling into the abyss and having his future utterly destroyed. Only after Shinji and her best friend had walked far away did I rub my leg and slowly step out of the toilet stall. When I returned to the classroom, Jiyu Sai's slender fingers were holding a pen, quietly working on his exam paper. It suddenly occurred to me that Jiyu Sai and I were desk mates. I sat in the seat closest to the wall, so to get in, I had to pass by Jiyu Sai's side. Seeing Jiyu Sai again reminded me of the searing pain that had burned through my body. I couldn't help but turn pale. I suppressed the fear in my heart and spoke in as calm a voice as possible. "Move aside, I need to get in." Hearing my words, Jiyu Sai made way by opening a gap. I rudely squeezed through, incidentally knocking all the test papers on his desk to the ground. Jiyu Sai picked up the exam paper, not angry about its fall, but instead asked me with concern, "What's wrong? Your face is so pale." "Low blood sugar again." He skillfully pulled out a white rabbit milk candy from his desk and pressed it into my palm. Then he patted my head and said, Shia, have a candy. You'll be fine soon." I clenched the milk candy in my palm so tightly that it melted from the heat of my hand, its wrapper becoming sticky and damp, yet I remained completely unaware. My mind was filled with Jiyu Sai's movements and expressions just moments ago. Again, this kind of misleading tone. In the past, I would always feel thrilled by this difference, but now it just makes me sick. Like melted white rabbit candy in my hand, sticky and disgusting. Back then, whenever my face turned pale, he would show a nervous expression like this, whispering softly to coax me. He was cold and indifferent to everyone, only gentle and patient when facing me. These behaviors of his once made me think I was special. Because of this, I never took Shinji seriously, because every time Jiyu Sai mentioned Shinji to me, his eyes were always filled with impatience, forming a stark contrast to the gentleness he showed when facing me. I really can't stand Shinji, that spoiled rich girl. She relies on her wealthy father to get into the honors class without even trying. To be honest, with her grades, she's just wasting educational resources by being in our class. Except for her, everyone else is studying hard, while she's the only slacker dragging down our class average. I never expected Shinji to say she likes me. Would a high and mighty young lady like her even fall for someone? Shinji is so annoying. Does a spoiled rich girl like her not understand plain rejection? I've turned her down several times, yet she keeps clinging to me. Once again, Ji Sai uttered these words with icy detachment. He was in the middle of solving math problems. He didn't notice Shunji standing right beside him at all, until a loud bang sounded. Shunji knocked the water cup to the ground and ran out of the classroom in tears. Only then did he raise his head, stop writing, and stare blankly at Shunji's disappearing figure for a long time. After that day, Shunji rarely came to school for classes. Therefore, I never connected Shunji with him, until later. When exactly did things start to change later? It seemed to happen during a book distribution. The class monitor counted the books and realized there was exactly one short, so the monitor distributed books to everyone in the class except Shunji. A zip sound followed. Ji Sai stood up from his seat, the sudden movement causing the chair and desk to emit a harsh scraping sound against the floor. He asked, "Monitor, why isn't there Shunji's book?" The monitor replied impatiently, "You should know already, a rich young lady like Shunji often skips class. Having a book or not makes no difference. Anyway, her father donated a building to the school, so no one dares to discipline her here. Her family isn't short of money, so she probably doesn't need to take the college entrance exam either. She'll just go abroad later to gild her education. What books does she need?" Hearing this, Ji Sai handed his books to her. "Shunji, will you still skip classes in the future?" Shunji smiled. Her smile was radiant and captivating. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and said, "If you make sure I don't skip class, I promise I'll never skip again." Ji Sai's lips curled slightly upward before quickly smoothing back into neutrality. He nodded calmly. That smile disappeared too quickly. As if it were just my imagination, I watched this scene unfold and felt something was odd at the time. Ji Sai usually never bothers with such trivial matters. Why would he go out of his way to help Shunji today? But in the end, I didn't say anything. That day, Ji Sai borrowed my textbook for every class and studied with me. He didn't turn his head to glance at Shunji even once. But he made several mistakes in his lecture notes, crossing out row after row. Looking back now, the signs were all there from the beginning, snapping out of my thoughts. I wiped the sticky sensation from my hand with a napkin and threw it into the trash along with that piece of candy. Shunji happened to walk over from outside the classroom. She was completely different from us in our tacky school uniforms. Every inch of her, from her delicate toes to the tips of her hair, was refined, and she carried a pleasant fragrance. She was exceptionally beautiful, with a head of voluminous wavy hair, fair skin, and a bold, radiant smile. She leaned in close to Ji Sai, her flowing hair cascading onto his shoulder, and whispered sweetly into his ear, "A sigh, come to the alley behind the school tonight. I have something important to tell you, about the two of us." Ji Sai remained calm, his lips trembling slightly without uttering a word, as if silently refusing. Yet I noticed the pen in his hand paused briefly while writing the exam paper, and a faint blush crept up to the tips of his ears. Only then did I realize his heart was in turmoil. I was blind and foolish before, unable to see the truth, but now I'm completely awake. Shunji wanted to say more to Ji Sai, but the class bell happened to ring. Only then did Shunji reluctantly return to her seat. I quickly composed myself and devoted my full attention to the class. During the lesson, I was astonished to discover that my memories from the first 17 years of my life were incredibly vivid. In contrast, everything from my previous life felt like a dream. Except for the excruciating pain before death that was too unforgettable. I might even have been dazed enough to think that everything from my previous life was just a dream of mine. But this is even better. All the high school knowledge is still fresh in my mind. As long as I put in double the effort now, I can get into a better university than in my previous life. Time always flies when you're focused on studying. Before I knew it, a whole day of classes had come to an end. When school was over, Ji Sai's movements as he packed his bag slowed down, as if he were hesitating about something. He asked me, Shia, Shunji said she wants to talk to me after school. Do you think I should go?" Hearing Ji Sai's words, I was reminded again of what he had said before my death in my past life. That day, I was originally going to accept Shunji's confession. It turned out that he had already vaguely sensed that Shunji wanted to confess her feelings to him. He once said that if I hadn't deceived him, he would have been with Shunji long ago. How ridiculous. If that's the case, why is he still hesitating now? Besides, if he truly loved only Shunji, why did he propose to me and sleep with me in the first place? What a scumbag, wanting to have his cake and eat it too. Shia. In the quiet classroom, Ji Sai's call snapped me back to reality. Do you think I should go? I understand what he wants to hear. So, I lowered my eyes without showing any emotion, concealing the hatred in my heart. Ji Sai, I think you should go. Shinji is a wealthy young lady, and it's already quite remarkable that she's been humbling herself to pursue you for so long. She's a rich girl with thin skin. If you don't go, what if she takes it badly and something happens? Hearing my words, a trace of curiosity flickered in Ji Sai's calm eyes. Do you really think so? I nodded vigorously, a hint of impatience creeping into my tone. Ji Sai, although we grew up together as childhood friends, to be honest, our relationship isn't that close. I'll only answer about you and Shinji this once. Whatever issues you have between you, don't bother me about it anymore. I just want to focus on my studies. From now on, stop coming to disturb me so often. Ji Sai froze momentarily, as if he hadn't expected me to say such things. Then he raised an eyebrow, a look of sudden understanding crossing his face. Shia, why are you speaking with such sarcasm? Are you angry? You weren't this petty before. I've told you already, there's nothing between me and her. If there were, we would have been together long ago. I weakly held my forehead, feeling panic rising in my heart, afraid that Ji Sai would once again blame Shinji's matter on me. I was just about to retort. Suddenly, Ji Sai's phone rang. Hello, Shinji. A grievance-filled voice came from the other end of the line. Ji Sai, I've been waiting for you for so long. Why haven't you come yet? Just come this once. Okay, Tilda. Shinji's voice was soft and sweet, with a rising inflection at the end, as if she was coquettishly pleading. Her family background was affluent, giving her an innate sense of nobility. Every time I saw her, she was proud, radiant, and flamboyant. It's hard to imagine that such a young lady would one day lower her head and act coquettishly. I think no man could refuse such an enthusiastic and stunningly beautiful young lady from a wealthy family. Sure enough, Ji Sai's lips curled slightly. He quickened his pace, packing his bag, pinched my cheek, and said, Shia, be good, don't fuss. I'll go find Shinji first, and when I come back tonight, I'll bring you your favorite grilled starch sausage. Hearing about the familiar starch sausage, my thoughts began to wander again. I couldn't help but think of my past life. In my past life, Ji Sai's family circumstances weren't good. His father passed away from stomach cancer when he was very young, and it was his mother who raised him. His mother was a factory worker with limited wages, so she couldn't give him much allowance. My mother was kind-hearted and, seeing them as pitiable orphans and widows living across the hall, often had me bring over things like chicken soup. Over time, Ji Sai and I became familiar with each other. All these years, we've been classmates since elementary school, right up to now. You could say we're childhood sweethearts. Having received favors from my family since he was little, he always wanted to buy me something in return. To save him money, I lied. Though I love small cakes, I told him I preferred the cheap starch sausages from street vendors. Truth is, I never liked them that much. I only said so to protect his pride. So, when I heard Shinji say she wanted to drag him into the mud and toy with him, all I could think was that I must stop Shinji's actions, and I succeeded as I wished. Ji Sai got into a top-tier university, 985. Even though his mother unexpectedly passed away after his college entrance exams, he still managed to complete his university education with the money he earned from summer jobs and scholarships. After graduation, his career soared smoothly, earning millions annually. At that time, I was genuinely so happy for him. I just never expected that he would resent me. After gaining my trust and marrying me, he specifically bought a large villa to imprison and torture me. Finally, they even staged a fire accident, burning me alive. Thinking of these things, I feel worthless for my past self. I seem to feel again the bone-chilling, searing pain. I lowered my head, gripping the hem of my clothes tightly, my knuckles turning white with tension. Ji Sai didn't notice my abnormality at all and quickly walked out of the classroom. After he left, my stomach churned violently. I hurried to the bathroom and repeatedly washed my cheeks, which Ji Sai had just touched, with cold water. Only after calming myself down did I pick up my backpack, leave the classroom, and head home. While studying at home, I always kept my phone on silent. It wasn't until I finished my study tasks that I finally saw Shinji's social media post. She had posted a heart emoji with a picture of Ji Sai's back, carrying Shunji's school bag in his hand. I breathed a sigh of relief. Thank heavens, they've finally gotten together smoothly. I silently prayed they'd stay locked together forever and stop tormenting others. The next day at school, I noticed Ji Sai wearing sneakers worth several thousand yuan. No need to guess, it was definitely Shunji's gift. I scoffed coldly and shifted my seat inward, putting more distance between us. Both he and I tacitly avoided mentioning the grilled sausage incident, and he also began to keep his distance from me. Whether intentionally or not, Shunji didn't disappoint me either. Although she wasn't academically strong, she was, after all, a young lady from a wealthy family with exceptionally high emotional intelligence. Thanks to her deliberate efforts to please, she got along quite happily with Ji Sai. They would have lunch together in the school cafeteria, coming and going as a pair. Chatting and laughing merrily, she would occasionally give Ji Sai small gifts, with reasons and gestures perfectly measured, never making anyone feel awkward. What's even more remarkable is that she was very clever. She never let Ji Sai skip class. She understood that directly asking Ji Sai to skip class would not only meet with his refusal but also arouse his suspicion. Besides, there are only a little over 3 months left until the college entrance exams. It's extremely difficult to make a top student's grades plummet in just 3 months. Unless you target their heart, make Ji Sai willingly choose a vocational college for love. She began to craft the image of a slacker turning over a new leaf for love, studying hard. She also kept saying, I want to give it my all to get into the same university as you. I often see Ji Sai taking the initiative to explain problems to her. Gradually, Shunji's reputation in our class improved, and everyone began to see her as a foolish girl madly in love. She would also occasionally show a vulnerable, tearful demeanor while studying. Ji Sai, I'm so stupid. I just can't seem to learn. Ji Sai, I won't give up. I must attend the same university as you. Ji Sai, between us, if you feel hesitant, then I'll take the first 99 steps. You only need to take the final one. Her tear-streaked face feigning strength resembled a delicate flower that evoked pity. Had I not overheard the plans she spoke behind my back, I would have been moved to tears on the spot. Not to mention Ji Sai himself, at this restless age. Being loved wholeheartedly by such a girl would make even an immortal yearn for mortal desires. Moreover, Shunji greatly satisfied his male vanity. However, only I knew the true meaning behind Shunji's final step. The final step was for Ji Sai to enroll in vocational college. Plunging into the abyss, I couldn't help but sigh. Taking pleasure in destroying others' lives, the games of the wealthy are truly unpretentiously cruel. Recently, Ji Sai has been thriving both academically and romantically, radiating confidence and high spirits. I often hear his buddies teasing him enviously. Brother Ji, you must have accumulated 8 lifetimes worth of good fortune to have such a beautiful, wealthy girlfriend throwing herself at you. If I were you, I wouldn't bother studying anymore. I'd just marry Shunji. Marrying her would save you at least 30 years of hard work. I've heard she's the only daughter of the Shun group. But Brother Ji, judging by the young lady's determination, if she works so hard but still can't get into the same university as you, won't she cry her heart out for 3 days and nights? Of course. It wasn't all admiration. There were also whispers and gossip. For example, right now, a boy deliberately took advantage of Shunji's absence and said sourly, Ji Sai, don't get too cocky. A poor guy like you doesn't deserve Shunji. She's a rich young lady, after all. Once you're separated by different universities, she'll definitely dump you. Ji Sai appeared indifferent on the surface, yet I keenly noticed Ji Sai's hand holding the pen tremble slightly. I quickly struck up a conversation with the classmate in front of me, casually steering the topic toward Shunji. I said, to be honest, I really admire Shunji. I think she's absolutely sincere. Distance can truly be terrifying. Many couples break up because of it. Moreover, Shunji has worked so hard. As a young lady from a wealthy family, she could have easily gone abroad to study without putting in such effort, yet she made such a significant sacrifice. I think Shunji has already taken 99 steps forward with all her might. The question is whether Ji Sai is willing to take just 1 step back for her and attend a slightly less prestigious university together. While speaking, She kept glancing at Ji Sai's reaction out of the corner of her eye and noticed his pen had been still for a long time, as if deep in thought. I think he must have taken it to heart. I secretly rejoiced in my heart. Ji Sai, oh Ji Sai, you must not let me down. Make sure to sink deeper and deeper. The deeper you fall, the harder you crash. Time passes swiftly, never pausing. During this period, I could feel Ji Sai sinking deeper and deeper. He began to serve Shinji diligently, bringing her breakfast and filling her water bottle. He even massaged her stomach and bought sanitary pads for her during her menstrual period. The posture was exactly like that of a loyal dog. While they were busy with their romance, I quietly devoted myself to studying hard. In the blink of an eye, the college entrance exams were over, and the day to check scores arrived. I performed exceptionally well, ranking among the top 50 in the province. A shielded student whose exact score wasn't disclosed, with both Tsinghua and Peking University calling to compete for my enrollment. And just like in his previous life, Ji Sai scored high enough to get into a top-tier 985 university. As for Shinji, she still didn't meet the undergraduate cutoff score and could only apply to vocational colleges. The day after the results came out, classmates gathered at a KTV for a farewell party. At the KTV, eager to witness the drama up close, I deliberately sat next to Ji Sai and Shinji. Ji Sai remained indecisive about filling out his college application preferences. He seemed deeply troubled, drowning his sorrows with bottle after bottle of alcohol. Shinji didn't pressure him either, with reddened eyes. She first adopted a pitiful retreat as advanced tactic. Though I'd really love to attend the same school and class as you, it's actually fine with me. We don't have to be at the same university. I just don't know if our free time will overlap despite being in different majors at different schools. If we can still manage to get together, I really, really want to be with you. But for your sake, I can compromise. When she noticed Ji Sai's expression softening, she added, Ji Sai, I mean if you're willing to apply to the same university as me, I'll give myself to you on the day the admission results are announced. I know what you're afraid of losing, and I want to say I'm being completely serious. I've thought it over. We could have a child while we're in college, so my dad won't oppose us anymore. When the child is older, we can take them abroad with us for further studies. I stood by, dumbfounded by what I heard. I couldn't help but applaud Shinji. Marveling at how remarkably cunning she was, her words would move any man's heart. However, I wonder if Ji Sai will be able to accept it when the truth comes out and he realizes she's been playing him like a fool. I'm really looking forward to it. That day, Ji Sai still didn't agree directly. Perhaps it was because he drank too much, or perhaps the psychological pressure was too great. The next day, Ji Sai came down with a fever. I only found out about this because Ji Sai's mother asked me to look after her son. When I heard this, a glimmer of amusement flashed in my eyes. I quickly contacted Shinji. As they say, sick people are at their most vulnerable. If Miss Shinji could come take care of Ji Sai, wouldn't winning him over be guaranteed? Perhaps even heaven was helping us. That day, it poured with torrential rain. I had prepared porridge and medicine in advance, waiting for the young mistress to arrive. I stood guard at the entrance of the building, immediately stepping forward when I spotted the Rolls-Royce. After Shinji got out of the car, it quickly drove away. Seeing the young mistress holding an umbrella, I hurriedly knocked it out of her hand. Shinji was drenched by the rain, and just as she was about to lose her temper, I quickly said, Miss, standing in the rain like this, completely drenched, you look so fragile and utterly captivating. I'm sure Ji Sai would be deeply moved. Shinji instantly understood what I meant. She took the porridge and medicine from my hands without asking any questions and followed me upstairs. Familiar with the place, I used the key to unlock Ji Sai's door. After Shinji went in, I quietly closed the door behind them. Everything went as I expected. Under Shinji's gentle persuasion, Ji Sai ultimately chose to enroll in a vocational college. Upon learning this news, I was so delighted that I devoured 3 bowls of rice that evening. I don't know if it was out of showing off or some other mentality. Before bed, Shinji sent me a video. In the dimly lit room, Ji Sai was disheveled, his face clearly visible. The other protagonist in the video seemed deliberately hidden, with only a foot visible. That foot slowly slid up from his abs until it lifted Ji Sai's chin. Ji Sai's chest heaved violently, clearly heavily stimulated, yet he dared not move a muscle. The Ji Sai in the video bore no resemblance to the aloof academic god. He looked like a puppy waiting for its owner's favor, utterly debased. The day Ji Sai's admission letter arrived, Shinji invited me to a party, saying there would be quite a show for me to see. My heart pounded wildly. Sensing that a surprise was coming, I quietly observed the commotion across the hall. I saw Ji Sai from across the hall pick up his admission letter, his usually cool eyes lighting up with a smile as he hurried toward the reserved party room. I had just put on my shoes and was leisurely following him to the party venue. We entered the private room, and the door was shut behind us. I noticed several wealthy heirs were already there, including Han Xian, who had made a bet with Shinji. Everyone stood with their arms crossed, wearing expressions of anticipation, but Ji Sai remained oblivious, lost in the joy of soon winning Shinji's affection. He proudly presented the admission letter to Shinji. Gigi, look, I got the admission letter. We're going to the same school. Shinji took the letter and saw Nanju Vocational Technical College written inside, curling her lips smugly. Good boy, well done. Ji Sai's expression stiffened slightly as he awkwardly said, Gigi, don't call me that in public. Shinji ignored him and instead turned towards Han Xian's direction, giggling coyly. Ah Xian. Look, Ji Sai really enrolled me in junior college. This bet, I won. Remember, don't forget to buy me that bag I love. Alright, young miss, you've really endured hardship these days. Of course I'll buy it. Any bag you like. Han Xian wrapped his arm around Shinji's waist, his eyes filled with adoration. He looked Ji Sai up and down disdainfully and said, Ji, the great academic genius. What was it you said about me before, that us rich second-generation kids are just lucky with fate? And without our parents, we couldn't even get into a decent university. TSK, so what's going on with you now? Now you're actively playing lapdog to my Gigi. Look at you, what kind of lousy school have you gotten into now? Just this, a worthless vocational college. Ji Sai froze. His eyes filled with utter disbelief. He could hardly believe what he had just heard. His body swayed as he trembled, pointing at everyone with a pale face, saying, You, what are you talking about? Staggering, he tried to grab Shinji. To her surprise, Shinji quickly stepped back 2 paces, grabbed the wine glass from the table, and splashed its contents directly onto his head. Ji Sai, you heard me right, I'm treating you like a dog. And you're so low that even stepping on you with my foot would get a reaction from you. It's truly disgusting. Low-class people will always be low-class. Shinji, how dare you call me disgusting? Ji Sai trembled with rage, wanting to continue dragging Shinji, but was stopped by others. He was soaked all over, alcohol sticking his hair and eyes, looking utterly disheveled. Wow, didn't expect Ji Sai to be not just stupid, but also deaf. Can't understand human speech. A wealthy young man nearby jeered. Someone started it, and others joined in with their mockery. Not to be rude, but Ji Sai should take a look at himself. What kind of person is he? A broke guy actually thinking he's worthy of the heiress of Shin Corporation. Phut, ha 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 ha, what an idiot. I think his brain got kicked by a donkey. Look at his clothes. Probably didn't even cost over $500, so pathetic. I quietly hid behind those rich second-generation heirs, listening with immense satisfaction from the sidelines. Ji Sai wanted to rush forward and throw punches. Han Xian's tone was lazy yet threatening as he said, Everyone in this private room comes from wealthy families. If you dare to lay a hand on them, be careful. Han Xian didn't finish his sentence, but anyone could grasp the implied meaning behind his words. Ji Sai's expression changed repeatedly, but his clenched fist eventually relaxed. His entire body seemed as if its backbone had been pulled out. His usually straight and upright posture, like pine or bamboo, began to bend. Watching Ji Sai teetering on the edge, trampled into the mud. I recalled his words from my past life. He had said, She left me a love letter filled with her affection. How could she not love me? How could she be playing with me? Look, this is what Ji Sai calls love. Indeed, it's better to let go of the savior complex and respect others' fate. Some people are eager to be lapdogs for rich girls. Best not to stand in their way. Suddenly, Ji Sai's phone rang. He fumbled to answer the phone and accidentally hit the speaker button, revealing an urgent voice on the other end. Hello, are you a family member of Li Kuiying? Li Qiang just suffered a sudden acute myocardial infarction and passed away on the spot despite rescue efforts. Upon hearing the news of his mother's sudden death, Ji Yusai's mind went blank with shock, and he collapsed unconscious on the spot. Seeing this, the crowd immediately scattered in fear of getting involved. Not a single person was willing to lend Ji Yusai a helping hand. I took advantage of the chaos to leave as well. The next time I heard news of Ji Yusai was while packing my luggage for university. Ji Yusai appeared on TV news. He had completely lost his mind. He had secretly stalked Shinji for 3 days and nights. Finally seizing his chance, he stabbed her 18 times. Shinji died on the spot, and he was arrested by the arriving police and sent to prison. Ji Yusai was convicted of intentional homicide under aggravated circumstances and sentenced to death. Before his execution, I received a call from the police saying Ji Yusai wanted to see me. After much hesitation, I finally decided to go meet him. Through the transparent glass of the visitation room, I saw Ji Yusai pick up the phone with venomous hatred in his eyes and roar, Why didn't you tell me Shinji was going to make a fool of me? Clearly my future wasn't supposed to be like this. I was supposed to be a winner in life, a social elite earning millions annually, Lin Xiaxia. Why has everything changed? Looking into Ji Yusai's turbid eyes, I knew the familiar Ji Yusai from my past life had returned. I leaned closer to the phone and chuckled softly. Ji Yusai, isn't this what you wanted? Ji Yusai's eyes widened, bloodshot with disbelief. You've also been reborn. No, that's not right. You were reborn long ago, I said indifferently. Ji Yusai, in your previous life, didn't you say Shinji loved you? Didn't you say I was lying, if that's the case? Why are you acting crazy now? I examined his disheveled appearance with amusement and teased. What, aren't you satisfied with how you look now? I'm extremely satisfied. Ji Yusai collapsed upon hearing my words. His face twisted grotesquely as he frantically smashed his head against the glass, blood streaming down his forehead, yet he refused to stop. Meanwhile, I hung up the phone, smoothed out the wrinkles on my clothes, and left the visitation room with light steps, stepping outside. The sunlight bathed me, and I felt as if reborn. At this moment, I realized that the past will vanish like smoke and clouds. In the future, my life will shine brilliantly. That's all for today's story. If you've listened this far, please leave happy every day in the comments. A little light wishes everyone happiness every day.